Then you should be welcome to the 223rd episode of Podcast Club Juventus Club Svezia, and this time I have Farhad from the Turin Giants podcast. Welcome.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for having me. This is fun to be interviewed now.
Yeah, and it's the other side of the Atlantic. You are in Chicago, Illinois.
Chi-Town, that's right. Best city in America. Don't let people tell you otherwise, baby.
It's the windy city.
Windy city, but
Yeah,
not because it's windy, even though it is windy. It's wherever the wind blows, that's where the politicians go. So it has two different meanings.
Yeah, exactly. And the first question when I have a new guest is always, why Juventus for you?
Why Juventus? Alessandro Del Piero.
Yeah.
I was a young lad, and there was I grew up in Baku, Azerbaijan, so there was a kid in our housing development who said, "You don't have a team. Watch this guy." And since 1996, Alessandro Del Piero, and I love the team because it has traditions and values, and it's just sometimes it's fun to support a team that a lot of people hate. I love being on that side.
And that's true for all
It's a good question,
Juventino.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm gonna steal a lot of questions from you.
Yeah,
I am
of
not
course,
that
of
good of a
course.
host.
No worries. And you say you are from Azerbaijan, but you live in the States. What's the reporting on football and the European football in the States?
It's getting a lot better. Like, for example, it's becoming part of the everyday life. We went out on Sunday. It was Father's Day. And we were next to this nice restaurant getting ready to go in. And there's kids playing footy, like in the park, which I told my kid who's playing in a team right now also, that wouldn't happen 20 years ago, 15 years ago. There was a son and like a couple of his kids playing soccer. It was, well, I'm going to call it football, but it's changing. But as far as reporting, social media and content creators really help move the game because, big channels and broadcasters, they see what kind of content creation ordinary people do, and they realize that people are hungry for it. So, pre-games and post-match interviews and all that stuff is really, it's being developed a lot in the States recently, and people are responding. I'm really happy that it's finally happening.
And talking about that, what you say about the Angeli family and with Andrea Angeli, the years of his when he was president for the club, we went to the States for pre-seasons and tournaments and such. We don't do this year. What's your opinion on going to the States and the American market?
I have a lot of opinions about that.
Yeah.
Not all of them are not all of them are great. I don't like that they take advantage financially, and it's not because Juventus does it. It's the organization and organizations that bring the European teams here. So we went to see because I used to run a official fan club in Los Angeles, and now I do in Chicago.
Yeah.
We get a lot of advantages. We met the players, took pictures. I have many great memories with the players themselves. But what if you're not part of the club? It took my dad, who's a Real Madrid supporter, it took him until 10 minutes in the second half to walk into the stadium. And he paid a lot of money. I bought them the ticket because, he introduced me to the game, and, that's our thing. He went with his friend, though, but I went with our fan club. Organization, it desires a lot better. But you know what? It's being developed, and at least we get to see a lot of fans, a lot of teams visiting. I wish, like I said, the organization was a little better, but the market is huge, and they realize that. for example, the World Cup in 26, people are already talking about it because it will be happening in the U.S. I'm already hunting for tickets and lotteries, and my wife signed up for a lottery, and we're creating fake emails to sign people up. So we are very excited. But preseason games, I feel like for the money people pay, hard-earned money, teams need to provide better entertainment outside of just a game on the field. I feel like there should be a pre-event concerts and meetups and stuff like that. It's sad that everything is very expensive nowadays. And we were talking before the podcast how we're both fathers and you want to provide better things for your kids, but everything is just so expensive. So when you drop $600 on the whole family to go and see Juve, you expect a little more than just seeing them on the field,
And talking about that, if we go back a few years, we get Cristiano Ronaldo, but the rape case from like 9 years before when he wasn't at Juventus get to the surface again. Do you think that thing and the pandemic who came like a year later, do you think that's stopped the crusade with Ronaldo for Juventus, or do you think it's
it didn't help. It didn't help. Can you imagine the response if Juventus bring Cristiano Ronaldo to America? They can sell out the biggest stadium in the US here, but pandemic, man, and I work at the hospital. It affected me personally, and as a fan as well. It's a shame. The biggest regret of the pandemic to me is we didn't get to see Messi, Ronaldo at the packed Camp Nou, and Ronaldo didn't get to do his last sue in front of the Barca fans. It's a shame, but life is life. There's a lot more important things that people lost than not going to games, sadly. But I mean, it would have been a great thing to bring Ronaldo to the US. I'm sure one of the biggest regrets of Agnelli's career was not to make that happen, because you make a lot of money. Just saying.
Yeah, and if you see the social media nowadays, when we get Ronaldo, we get praise in every level at the social medias. Do you think we have to work on like players who can make content for the club, not just as a football player or content maker or such?
It's a huge plus, but the way Juve concentrate on it, it's not the Juve I know. I know you have to move with the times, and I know it's just the way it is. But first of all, I don't think Juve's social media is that good. I feel like there are creators out there. They can do a great job. But Juventus has such a strong hold on everything that's being done around them. I had to deal with Juve a couple of times, and it's a grip that even if you wanted to do something creative, something different, it would have been stopped at some kind of level. And at the end, the content comes out a little cheesy. It's a saying here in America. It's a little corny. But I look at the game on the field, obviously, as content creators. You look at stuff like that, and you try to do a good job. I just don't feel like all of the filters that Juve has, I don't think the final product is really good. And you can see it in the comments. People think it's very amateur. You have a player like Trezeguet or Del Piero, and you ask them, oh, who would you choose? Platini or Maradona, or Del Piero or like, who cares? That's why I try to avoid, like, whenever we do any type of like questionnaires and interviews on our podcast, I avoid these questions because who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares what this guy likes? Ask me a question. Ask Del Piero a question. Hey, because I've met him and I was like, you've had many shirts, many great games that, you know, you would want to save. What's one shirt that you have in your closet that you will never give away? He said the Italy shirt that I wore for the final, I will never give away.
Yeah.
So I just feel like you need to be a little more creative, and not that my podcast is amazing, and I'm this. Listen, I'm such an idiot. I'm like the worst part of our podcast, but I try to come up with something different and something fun, where, you know, you talk more than just about formations and who's your favorite player, because you have to know, is this question going to mean anything to the listeners or not? So going back to the whole content creation, I feel like there are people out there who can make Juve's content, social media content a lot better. But you know what? They're trying. So
yeah,
as long as they try.
You got now the Creator Lab, and we saw what when they announced the Thiago Motta movie. What do you think about that?
I feel like the stuff that they do behind the scenes, stuff that's not they're filming people or filming interviews, I feel like they can do a great job.
Yeah.
For example, going back to Ronaldo, his presentation was world class. You see it still in 10 years when he's walking out of that shot. It's unbelievable. It still gives me goosebumps. Yeah. But like if something is created behind the scenes, I feel like it's really good stuff. It's the stuff that, you know, they try to make it like a Disneyland. You know, it's Juventus with a lot of history, and I feel like there's a fine line. I feel like there's a good balance in bringing the old Juve and making content creation out of it. For example, I feel like Roma does a really good job about that, because they allow their social media team to do something different, something not super corporate, you know. But Creators Lab, I'm not going to sit down and watch, to be honest with you. I might check out a very interesting character or someone who's interesting to me, but most of that stuff, I'm more of a fan, and like I support the team. I'll go to the games whenever I can. By the way, my son, who's 8, he asked for a trip to Turin for his first one. He's really getting into. We just went to see Messi play against Ecuador with Argentina last week, and he caught the bug, as they say. You know, he's 8 years old, but and especially growing up in America, it's kind of tough because you have to seek it out. You have to find football and live football, especially. So I'm really happy. So if anybody wants to join us in Turin next April or May, please let me know. Turin Giants crew will be there.
Yeah. And if we talk about the social media parts, I read about the Douglas Luiz exchange with Weston McKennie and Samuel Ealing Jr. We see his girlfriend Alicia Lehmann too, who has a great following on social medias. Do you think Juventus as a club think a lot about that too, or is it just the football player?
Oh, you mean Luiz's girlfriend
Lehmann.
She's popular?
Going to Juventus woman.
I feel like it's a plus. I don't think, again, what do I know? What did I know? What they're feeling like, but it can't hurt, right?
Exactly.
It's a great bonus. But yeah, I'm really excited about the next season. I feel like we may not be Juventus who's fully back yet, but it's a start. If fans give their support and patience to our new coach, it's really exciting to have a young coach who's still finding out, you know, his style and what he can bring to the table. Because I feel like older coaches nowadays, I mean, we saw Allegri. He couldn't keep up with the younger generation. tactically and behind the scenes. So I'm really excited.
Yeah,
But giving up McKennie. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, no.
Giving up McKennie, it hurts me personally. Giving up McKennie. I love that. I've met him. He follows us on our Instagram at Turin Giants. I always make it a joke because I always bring it up at least once a podcast that he likes our posts, and he's a really good guy. So it hurts, but the team knows best. I respect Giuntoli, and I do like when teams develop players, when teams don't just go out and spend a crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that pandemic changed. You can no longer afford these crazy signings, especially if in Italy. Maybe in England they can, but I do enjoy finding out these gems from outside of Italy and bringing them in. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, talking about the Americans, what do you feel about McKennie's return after the loan in Leeds, and what do you think about Timothy Weah's first season at Juventus?
So Timothy Weah, let's see. I don't think it was as bad as people say. I think for a young player who started playing for Juventus, I don't think he did that bad. It's a first season. We've given worse players more time, and for a long time. Yeah. Bernardeschi. So I feel like with the depth that Juventus will need next season, you can't just give away players. No. Vera can be great in a Coppa Italia game or coming off the bench in Serie A or even Champions League. So I'm in no rush to sell him, and that's not because I live in the U.S. or he's American. I don't care about that stuff. It's a huge bonus because even my friends who have no interest in Juventus, they're fans of other clubs, because it's an American player, they're interested. They're following me and they're asking me questions. So it's a huge plus, but I feel like he's a decent player. But I mean, McKennie, 9 assists last season? He's a great player. He's if I were to choose, I would definitely let go Webb before McKennie. But it's you can't have 40 players on your team, no matter how much you love a player. Some of them have to go, sadly. And McKennie did great, but if it means to bring such a great talent as Luis, that would be amazing. That's his last name, right? I'm blanking on his last name right now. Yeah.
And if you
summertime, I'm taking some time off. Mm-hmm.
And if you're talking about the Americans or North Americans, I saw a survey, I think it was last season, 21% of the owners in Serie A, Serie B, Serie C are from North American. What do you think about that?
As long as Juventus is owned by an Italian, that's all that matters to me. But the world is changing. It's just so global nowadays. There's only so much you can do, and they're not terrible, right? Like Roma, a couple of other Italian teams. I'm blanking on the names, but
Milan.
As long as they respect the tradition, and you need money, so it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a business, and we'll see where Juventus goes with that. But a lot of those American owners, they do have Italian roots. So it's not like it's some guy from Kansas all of a sudden, wants to own a soccer team.
Yeah.
They're, a lot of them have Italian last names and families in Italy. So as long as they love the calcio, it is what it is. The world is becoming more and more global every day.
Yeah, I'll talk with a few Romanistas, and they're talking about the former ownership in of Pallotta. He have Italian roots, but he's from the States. He didn't. managed to get the supporters with him, and he wasn't in Italy that much. But you see the new owner, Friedkin, he's much more in Italy, and he's taking advantage of the Italian culture and the culture and such. If you come from a different country, you have to take care of the tradition and such.
Absolutely.
And they said that Pelota didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
you have to respect the culture. It's so huge. If you're a foreign owner in Italy, you already have a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So you have to start from way down below, and money will not buy you the respect of the players and of the people in the city. So it's a right move. You have to you have to immerse yourself in the culture and kind of win the hearts of the Italian fans. It's insane. I mean, they discuss in Italy. They discuss the game that just happened for the next week, 3-4 days. It's just a way of life. So if you're an owner who comes in and doesn't know what you're doing and don't know what you're doing, it's not going to last. So what is it like that in Sweden right now? Your season is over. I love meeting people from other countries.
Yeah.
So
I'm not that.
You go to a lot of games or no?
No, I go to my hometown club. It's in the second division in Sweden now. IK Oddvall it's called.
Okay.
But I don't look that much at Swedish football. Allsvenskan is the highest division, but I'm not that interested in that because I just follow Juventus and then see the calcio. So I'm not that interested in Allsvenskan, but I follow my club IK Oddvall.
It's we're always so jealous here because you guys can get in the car, get on the train, be at the game, be home by the time the day is over. Do you go to a lot of Juventus games?
No, not that much. I'm like we talked about before. I got 4 kids, so I can't go anytime I want. But it's not that far. It's like 2 or 3 hours with a flight. So it's not that far. So
nice. Yeah. Well, I hope you get to do that soon, right?
Yeah. Exactly. What do you think about the we talk about Andrea Agnelli? He started like president in 2010, built the arena, the headquarters and such, the school, the hotel and everything. Then a few years with success, he got the stripes off the shirt, he got the new logo and the Super League and such. What's your opinion of Andrea Agnelli?
He kind of lost his way as he went because it started really well. It started with embracing tradition and, obviously 9 titles in a row with him sitting next to Nedved is iconic. It's every time they would score, they would show him sitting in the stands, and I'm sure, he had something to do with it. Yeah. But towards the end, it was just a mess. I mean, changing the logo was it was a smart move, but it was just executed poorly. Same thing with Super League. Yeah. It was a smart move that needed to be done, but everything was done so sloppily. I love everything. You look like in my background. There's old school scarves, and I love this jersey here. Signed by Del Piero, by the way. So I love the tradition of Juventus, and I feel like it's non-existent. So with him going just a little too corporate towards the end, it was just becoming really, really sad for our old school fans such as yourself as well. In the beginning, like I said, he was doing all the right moves. The stadium was a great move. So much money that we were making. Juventus was first to do everything, but the way, but by the end of his tenure, it was just becoming very corporate, very cold, very boring. So I wish he didn't have to leave in such a way, because it's really embarrassing, I imagine, for him, and with the Agnelli roots that Juventus have. Uh, but man, yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the moves towards the end, especially because Juventus weren't doing that well on the field.
Yeah, yeah,
Getting knocked out of Champions League. I feel like if you're selling chairs with Juventus logos, you should also pay attention to what's going on in the field. If you buy Ronaldo, you should give him players. He was scoring, but the team was also conceding because Ronaldo cannot defend. So the fact that he kind of lost that Juventus strength and edge, it's a shame. It's a shame the way it ended.
and
And it all started with the logo, man.
yeah, exactly. And if we talk about the Americanization of
Yeah.
European football, you can see the Super League against the Champions League. You can see the lock divisions, or you say like you have in the MLS, NBA, NHL, and such.
Mm-hmm.
What's your opinion on that? Do you want a more locked in division in the European leagues as well, or do you think the European way of doing it's the right way?
Absolutely. It's the right way. And, when people here find out about soccer and the way they do it in Europe and, Asia and Africa and all that, it's just mind blowing because, oh, you mean if LA Clippers don't do well, they can go into the G League. It's just such a great concept.
Yeah.
But in America, there's just too much money.
Yeah.
You can't have an NBA team go down to a lower level. And I guess, keep that in the US. But when it came to, I feel like one of the biggest minuses of the Super League was that you get to stay there for forever.
Yeah.
So what's fun in that, and the way Super League was presented was done so poorly.
Yeah.
The way it was just, hey, here we are. Here's the poster. There was no presentation. There's no, there was no ambassador that came out, and it's a player that you trust, or a coach from back in the days who presented you with that idea, and you know what's going on. It was kind of like, oh, let's retweet this. So Americanization, I always call it on the podcast. I hate where the game is going, because first of all, VAR was kind of like the beginning of making the game too robotic.
Yeah.
It should be there should be mistakes. For example, the Belgium game yesterday.
Yeah.
I understand there was a little handball, but the game cannot be perfect. So the fact, I'm no fan of Belgium, but I feel like that little tap with a handball, it's not that obvious, and it wasn't. He didn't score with that goal with that hand. The game is becoming very NBA, very NFL. I even saw a video in one of the American leagues. I don't think it was MLS, where the referee had a mic and he would announce to the whole stadium what VAR decided. And I feel like you didn't see Please find that clip, because you know how in the NFL, I don't know if you watch NFL. I'm a big fan. I know Europeans, starting to, enjoy NFL as well.
Yeah.
There's a thing where the referee turns on the mic on his hip and everyone can hear his decision. Football needs to remain a little more, untouched by computers and by those offside replays that are ridiculous, where like a piece of knee is offside. I'm not a fan. And money and social media seems to overpower the beauty of the game. We care more about what the players do off the field and at the end of the games where you see somebody taking a picture of the dressing room and everyone's on their phones.
Yeah.
It's become so corporate. It's become lost its beauty. And I'm not the only one. You can go and search clips online of people in their 30s and 40s who watched the game where players were athletes, players were entertainers. They didn't do it because they're looking for a sponsor, So we try to enjoy games, but it kind of gets in the way, and it tells kids that, hey, care more about your haircut than performance on the field. I have relatives. I have my nephew in the soccer team, and they're great. They're great kids, but at some point they're gonna turn to social media and show off their haircuts.
Yeah, I'm not that into American sports. I get relatives in a few cities in Minnesota, so I'm cheering for the Minnesota team. So it's Vikings in the NFL then.
Boo! I'm a Packers fan, baby.
Yeah. But I follow every Minnesota team in NBA and such on Twitter, and for me it's more about, like you said, like entertainment than the sports already.
Yeah.
So it's.
I mean that's just how it is in the U.S. There's a reason people in Asia and Europe get up at 3 a.m. to watch American sports because they do it the best. But there's also, soccer here is an activity for kids. It's not a way of life.
Yeah.
But like I told you, I don't remember if it was before or during the podcast where I said that, there's kids in the streets playing football now, because they're realizing the simplicity of the game. All you need is one ball, maybe two backpacks or 2 shoes that you put as goals. That's all you need. That's the beauty of the game. You don't need fancy rims or goals and stuff like that. So I guess everyone takes away whatever they want from the game. And but to be honest, I know MLS gets clowned a lot on social media because people take funny clips that are truly funny.
Yeah.
But you have to realize that it's a lot of fun at the games as well. Depends on also the team and their fans. For example, Atlanta United, amazing atmosphere at their games. Columbus, out of all places, Columbus, Ohio has amazing, their curva behind the goal. They have amazing support. So I just wanted to lend a little support for MLS because they're trying. They're not there yet, but you know what? They're trying. I've been to a couple of games, even though Chicago Fire has a small supporters club. There's drums and there's flags going the whole game. There's music. What can we do? It's funny because LAFC, they have the best behind the goal support.
Yeah.
And the president of their supporters used to be he's still a Juventus fan that used to come to games with us when I ran the fan club. And when I ran the fan club in LA, he was one of our regulars. And, he learned from the culture of Italians. And if you Google LAFC fans, there's a clip that's going around where it's pretty funny, but they have a pretty cool support. So I'm a big fan of Americans taking the tradition rather than Americans given the Americanization to Europeans, you know. So
talking about the it's a bit off topic, but Chicago Fire got a Swedish guy a few years back, Freddie Ljungberg, play for Arsenal.
I love Ljungberg. Yeah, I was never an Arsenal fan, but I appreciated his what he did for Arsenal. Also, by the way, speaking of Sweden and international, when you guys, my first World Cup was 94. When
Yeah.
you guys knocked out Bulgaria,
Yeah.
I was heartbroken because Bulgaria was the Cinderella of the World Cup in America. And every what I love about international tournaments is it's never top 8 best teams. There's always that one team that steals everyone's hearts. And Sweden was doing great in the World Cup. Obviously, they took, third spot
Yeah.
and bronze medal. But when you guys knocked out Stoichkov and that Bulgarian team, I was so heartbroken. And young Henrik Larsson was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
amazing, right? He
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
in that World Cup,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Who else? Brolin and I'm failing the last names, but Sweden did great in that World Cup. Good memories, man. And when the World Cup comes to US, I hope people reach out to me because we will be organizing events around Italy and even if we don't go to the stadium, I will be organizing bar events and outdoor events. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So reach out to us
Yeah,
at Turin Giants.
of course. We got a World Cup game here in my small town of Uddevalla. It's about 50,000 people in the community here, but we have a arena is called Rimnersvallen, and the World Cup of '58 Brazil play here.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh my God! There must be some kind of a plaque or something.
Yeah,
Is there?
They get rid of the old arena now. The new one is built, but they got the plaque in there. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome. That's a long time ago, man. That's almost 100 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And
I cannot wait for the World Cup.
Yeah, it's what you said 94. It's 30 years later back in the States then.
Yeah. We actually the game that Juventus played against Real Madrid in a preseason friendly was at Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
And just looking at the goal that Roberto Baggio missed his penalty.
Yeah.
Only football fans will realize. I got goosebumps when I actually looked because I didn't know which side it was. So I looked at where the media was sitting and I kind of calculated which goal it was. And man, what a history. The man that died standing up. Such a beautiful quote. It's so sad. But many people don't know that if Brazil scored the next penalty, they would win anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And talk about the legends of the club. Now we don't have Buffon in the goal. We don't have Chiellini, Basagli, Bonucci. We don't have the senators of Juventus left in the club. Yeah. What do you think we have to get players in the squad to get back the Juventus DNA, or can we take like Del Piero or Chiellini back in the boardroom as such?
Well, Chiellini is rumored to come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We need presence in the club from the legends. I don't think you should be hiring legends to be coaches because, we talked about it on the podcast, and Rav, my buddy Rav from formerly UVFC, now at Juventus News Live, he said that you just don't want to see people turn against the legend and them, tarnish their legacy. For example, if Del Piero comes back, some people say as a coach, some people say as, like a president, something happens. Let him stay untouched.
Yeah.
Let us remember the good times. But on the field, I feel like another reason why this season and season after next will be super exciting because we will see new legends develop. We will see our kids make their own legends and make their own memories because right now we are starting from scratch. If you look at the team right now, Vlahovic seems to have that biggest love for Juventus. Few other players. I really love what Gatti does on the field, even though he had a difficult season, especially in the beginning. I feel like he has that drive every time he scores. It means so much to him. It's not just, celebrate with they go all out.
Yeah.
Vlahovic, the goal that was disallowed in the Coppa Italia, the way he celebrated was just like bringing everyone together and going all out. So next season, next couple of seasons will be very exciting to see who is that guy that you just know, oh, he's gonna be on a lot of people's back of their shirts, you know. So I'm super excited. I wish we were keeping Chiesa. It's not a done deal yet, but sounds like, you know, Juventus wants to sell him. That's a huge mistake in my opinion, because the grinta and the dirty work that he does, I don't think there's a lot of players. I think a lot of players expect beautiful game, but what I love about Chiesa is that he doesn't mind getting dirty and, you know, clashing with other players and going through them. And a lot of Chiesa's goals are because he didn't give up.
Yeah.
So I really hope it doesn't go through. I really hope we get to keep him. Who else? But that's the sad part about Juve nowadays is that I can't name you more than 3 or 4 players who deserve to be on Juve.
Yeah.
You know, it's just they're there because they just happen to be there, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
But you never know. Next season, we'll see who steps up. Give Yildiz number 10, or maybe don't. Maybe give him one more year. I feel like it's too early, but the fact that Pogba didn't really play and he kind of tarnished the number 10.
Yeah.
We need to be careful with that number, precious number 10, you know?
Yeah, and I think that's a good topic to make too, because for me, and I imagine for you, the 10 on Del Piero was magical. We got the Baggio, we got the Platini and such, and then Dybala, who's injury prone the whole time in Juventus, and then, as you said, Pogba went from number 6 to number 10, then left, and then come back, and the time now is we have to forget about. So the number 10 don't mean that much nowadays, I think.
We need to bring it back then.
Yeah,
number
exactly.
10 for Juve.
Yeah.
It cannot not mean something. The last great number 10 was Carlitos Tevez.
Yeah, exactly.
He did it.
Yeah.
When he was given that number 10, it's a lot of pressure, but I feel like he just had fun, scored whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the fact that he left so soon, people have a good memory of that. And I feel like it's important for a player to not tarnish the legacy by the end of their run, you know. But yeah, I'm ready for a new number 10. I try to be careful. I try to be cautious. Don't give Yildiz all this pressure.
Yeah.
He's what? Like, how old is he? 19, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's insane. So I don't know if you want to give it to him now, but it's super exciting. I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Give me that jersey. And what do you think about the jerseys for next year? You like the thick stripes?
It's more classical, but a different kind of stripes, I think. But when I saw the third shirt, I think it was beautiful. But then I see the small changes, and not too much. And the yellow one, I don't understand. It's like you just put a yellow painting on a white shirt. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, that yellow one is just horrendous.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not like they reconsider them. And that's, I don't understand. I don't understand why Juventus or Adidas cannot have a competition. I put up on our Instagram, I put up a collection of concept kits.
Yep.
It's just kids who know Photoshop. They do such an amazing job. I could never even imagine doing that. And then we get this yellow pea stained shirt because it's not even a beautiful yellow like classic Juventus.
Nope.
Juventus have worn yellow kits.
Yeah.
Why not bring that color? Just give me a nice minimalistic design. Another reason why it's the Americanization of the game. They don't care.
No.
You know, you're wearing Kappa And one of our reels that I made a couple of days ago is about the old Kappa shirts for Italy for Euro 2000. And it's just like this, Nike and Adidas, it just doesn't look like they care, and it's sad because people would be buying a lot more of them if they were nice. But, the second jersey is pretty good. I got to admit. Yeah. Anything with a collar, you're given an opportunity for people to wear it outside. Yeah. Because I don't want to wear a jersey. I'm not an age where I just wear the jersey. But if it has a collar and a couple of buttons, looks great. Yeah. So I agree with you. I feel like the stripes are very thick. Yeah. It looks a little Newcastle-ish.
Exactly.
So I feel like we're used to, stripes 1, 2, 3, like maybe 6 or 7 stripes in the front and the back. But you know what? I'll take it. Anything is better than the black and white that when Ronaldo played, we had one black side, one white side. Stop experimenting. And that's another reason. I'll tell you why. Because I spoke to my American friends who knew nothing about Juve, and they said, why are you wearing a referee jersey? And Juventus is smart because they sell a lot of jerseys in the United States. So why do they want to be associated with NFL referees, Yeah. So it's a tradition, and now it's a clash. It's a clash between tradition and do we want to make money? So they come up with these beautiful second kits in order to make some money. Like this season's the horizontal pink and gray stripes were great. Yeah, that was a fun kit.
Yeah, and I think when we talk about the pink color, because Juventus were pink from the start, I think they got the stripes from Notts County in England.
That's right.
So you can play with the second shirt or the third shirt with a nice pink, but the few ones we got the later years is, like you said, horrendous.
Yeah.
So I think.
What about that? There was an orange one, right? There was an orange with black spots.
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to create these crazy designs, but crazy designs can be good too. Yeah. It's not just something you make up on Photoshop. It has to make sense. It has to have some kind of meaning behind it, or I don't know. It's just there's so many talented people out there, but we are in the chokehold of Adidas that refuses to do three great shirts in a row. Yeah. There's always one that looks terrible.
Yeah, the pink blue with the flower stuff.
Which one is that? Pink blue.
I think it was the last season or the season before. Blue, pink, and it's like flowers in the patterns. It's horrendous. I think it was last season. Yeah, you forget about it soon, I think.
Yeah, right. No, it must not have been good if I forgot about it. Yeah. But the funny thing is, the Jeep that had the lightning logos. Yeah. Kind of lightning going through the Jeeps. We're kind of old, but when my kids saw it, that's the first thing he noticed, and he loved it. Yeah. So you never know. Like it's. I guess the young people who buy in the jerseys and not us old people, Yeah,
exactly. And you talk about Jeep. We got we are in search for a new sponsorship. Do you think it's going to be like from the Middle East, or do you think it's going to be an American brand who is going to be on our shirts?
No idea. But there's definitely controversy if you want to be sponsored by a Saudi team. And it's nothing against Saudi people. I have Saudi friends and members of our Chicago fan club. Of course, they feel great pride, and they don't like that their country has bad reputation. But you can't avoid it, sadly. So you're inviting controversy if you are putting a, Saudi Arabian sponsor on your shirt. Is it going to bother me? Probably not. I'm probably going to forget it in as soon as the shirts come out. But can Juventus really afford another controversy, especially the way, every 2-3 months it seems like something PR, some bad PR is happening to Juventus. We just got over the way they fired Allegri. A couple of weeks after, there's Mason Greenwood rumors. And it's like, can we stop? Can we stop? But at the end of the day, I was talking to my Saudi Arabian buddy, and, I like to have uncomfortable conversations with people without offending them. And he said that, why not? There's worse sponsors out there on shirts, but it means financial stability, because you'll never run out of money if you're sponsored by a Saudi Arabian team or a sponsor or any Middle Eastern, one of those prospering Middle Eastern countries. So there's plus in that. You want huge players, somebody has to pay for them, But Ferrari will be my... Yeah. 1 year. I posted, again, going back to our Instagram, because I love our Instagram. If you guys want to follow @Turin Giants, I post something and then I get replies, and then I talk to people on there. I just love hearing from Juve fans all over the world. The response was insane. I couldn't stop replying, because I posted 3 versions of Juventus shirts for next season with the Ferrari logo. People went nuts. I mean, people were saying, I will buy 3 of each because I know there will be classics 50 years from now. But it's probably not going to happen. But I'm glad that we had something to talk about, because there was a period last couple of weeks where people were imagining their Ferrari logos. They could make so much money. It's probably not going to happen, but they're missing out on so much money not releasing those Ferrari kits. That would be amazing. But Jeep has been good to us.
And when I saw, I think it was a few months ago, Ferrari with F1, they got Leclerc, and next season they got Lewis Hamilton too. So make Ferrari the sponsor for Juventus. It's make great on social medias and the sponsorship.
I can imagine. There's a huge intersection of Juventus fans and Ferrari fans. If you're trying to raise a little money, Elkan can make it happen. You know how every year around October or so they release insanely expensive limited edition shirts. Put a Ferrari stamp on it, man. It's gonna you can sell them for $1,000 if you want to. So let's see. Sponsors nowadays, I feel like, I was talking to my buddy Saeed, and he said that, I told him that they should release sponsor-free shirts, and obviously sponsors don't want that, but that's another great idea. You release something without the sponsor. Roma had a couple of shirts like that. It just looks cleaner. It just looks less corporate, and you know how I feel about that.
I think a few minutes just talk about the Calcio Mercato. You're talking about Chiesa. You want him still in the team.
Absolutely.
You're talking about Vlahovic, who is, I think every report said is the center of Thiago Motta's team for next season. What's your buying? What are players are you buying for this Juventus?
The dream signings. My boy Calafiori. Give me. We are doing fine up front. I'll come back to Calafiori, but we saw at the end, at the last game when Fagioli played, you realized how much we missed him. There was this hole in the center for 7 months, and then he comes back, and you see how important he is. So midfield is kind of taken care of. Maybe we'll buy, a couple more people there, but you need to make Juventus great again. You need to make the defense the center of your center of the team. Vlahovic will score goals because he's got Thiago Motta now, a coach who wants even the center backs to go forward.
Yeah.
So we're fine up front. You need to make sure that Calafiori is on your team, because a center back who can score goals and who can play like Bonucci style, he played a little bit, towards the front. He would give these great through balls to players. You need that kind of player. Of course, we already signed Di Gregorio, which is huge. A 26-year-old keeper who's already sort of developed, because for keepers, they can play till, we saw Buffon, we can play till they're 38, 37 years old. So you're already getting Di Gregorio for the next few years. You need to buy Calafiori. And I read somewhere that the president of Bologna is not too crazy about it, because he said that, hey, we made it to the Champions League. I can't sell everyone and then, not perform in the Champions League. So hopefully they'll let him go. I know they're negotiating about the price right now. I feel like Gentoli feels like it's too expensive, 50 or 60 million or something like that. I'm sure they'll come to an agreement, but that's my dream signing. A couple of people kind of gave their okays now, but I'm missing someone. We just signed someone. Someone just gave their okay. I guess it is Calafiori, but just the Bologna team now is not giving their okay. But you need to keep Bremer. I know he probably goes, but that would be a huge loss, because again, a center back that can score you goals on corners and be that good at defense, forget about it. He's a Brazilian Barzagli to me.
Yeah.
I love Bremer. But if the money's good, they're not going to listen to Farhad from Turin Giants, they're going to they're going to sell and listen to their pockets.
Yeah, exactly. Don't you think we got someone more for the midfield? Because you're talking about the Fagioli. We saw his 2 games. He showed more than Rabiot all over the season.
Exactly.
If Rabiot is going to leave, then you have to put in a midfielder, or Rabiot stays and you don't have to buy any.
No, Rabiot has to go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He was good enough for Allegri's team, where the performance didn't have to be that great, sadly.
Yeah.
So we need to refresh. Rabiot was just good, just okay. If you can cash in, find a sucker in England, someone like Manchester United to sell him to. I'd rather keep Bremer than him, obviously. But you know what? I haven't been keeping up with the transfers and who's free, who's available to come. I'm the type of fan who just enjoys what happens, as opposed to wishing something would happen.
Yeah.
I have no control of who they're gonna buy. If it was up to me, midfield. I don't know. I honestly don't know who's on the market right now that can help out Fagioli, but I really hope it's someone good.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk about someone who needs to go rather than someone who, because it's more realistic, right? We don't need Rabiot as much. If you buy someone who can take his spot, someone younger, someone quicker. I don't think Rabiot was great 3 years ago, let alone now.
No.
He was okay. He loves the team, and he clearly is a team player, but I don't think he's that amazing. Trying to think who's who's really good now, but it's tough because you have to compete with players who want to go to England before they go to Italy,
Yeah.
or players who would rather play for Bayern than come to Italy. Italy right now is struggling with the stadiums and the money. The cash flow is poor. So you have to kind of settle for players who would come to Italy. But then when they get there, they realize it's amazing. They realize that the culture is great. And I mean, Serie A is really entertaining. It's it's the way they present it to the world that makes me angry.
Yeah.
It's who wants to, what neutral wants to watch a game where Lazio or Napoli, if you're watching the game on TV and you see empty seats
Yeah.
all in the front, because why? Because there's a running track and people would rather sit in the higher seats and see more. And in 2024, we have 5 or 6 stadiums with a running track around.
Yeah.
You know, you have to present, you have to give a beautiful product, especially to people right now with such short attentions now, where you need to keep them engaged. People don't want to watch a game where you can't see the spectators, you know? So before a great player comes to your league, you have to fix the league. You have to fix the racism, which I know there's a bigger problem in Spain now than Italy, but Italy still has it. You know, just look at the videos. So Serie A, they just need to literally fix 2 or 3 things. It's not a lot of work. The quality of the game already is so high.
Yeah.
You just need to make it pretty. You just need to maybe get rid of 3 rows of advertisement boards. Get rid of the fences that are standing there from 1990 World Cup. Fix the lighting, because when you watch these games, they're dark.
Yeah.
The cameras can't pick up the brightness of the grass because it's just so dark at the stadium. I don't know. I care about aesthetics of the game, and we try to do a lot of stuff around the beauty of the game. But yeah, I feel like before you can invite Mbappe to play in Italy, which he'll probably go to Milan anyway, but before you invite world-class players, you need to make it pretty for them. And this is how it is. Sorry, I'm talking so much.
No, it's no worries. I think it's a great way of ending this episode, and I will thank you a lot for that you make the time to make the episode.
Of course. No, I apologize for the craziness that happened. My wife just texted me. My kid just broke her leg, so I have to go there now. I have to pick up. It's a lot of fun doing content creating, but man, once you hit that age, it's really difficult to make it a priority. So I'm so happy we made it happen.
Me too.
Thank you so much for having me. I was just thinking about a week ago that nobody ever invites me on their podcast. I've had a ton of people, including, Romeo Agresti and Mina Razuki, and we like to have a lot of fun, but I want to be interviewed too,
Yeah, and I did like 205 episodes in Swedish, and now it's more and more international, so I think I have to make more international episodes to broaden the audience too.
That's awesome. And we will create a YouTube page where what I want to do is just invite everyone around the world to watch the games with us.
Yeah.
Turin Giants has always been, let's create a community. I don't want to do this on my own. It's boring.
Yeah.
So I like to bring people in. So you are always welcome, and we'll chat. You tag me in your post.
Yeah,
I would love to. I would love to repost it as well. This was super fun.
Yeah, for me too, and it was a great experience to talk about. I almost every episode talk about the players, the coaches and such, and this is more like the club, the creative minds behind the club and such. So it's a great episode for me too.
My pleasure, man. Love it. Thank you for having me.
Take care of your kids now.
Thank you, sir. Will do.
Yeah. Ciao, Farhad.
Forza Juve.
Forza Juve. Bye, bye.